Welcome everyone. Nothing beats a good ghost story, and our planet is chock full of them. UFO sightings in Transylvania, murders on luxury cruise ships, and spirits wandering the halls of British castles. No matter where you're traveling, you're sure to find some sort of haunted landmark, as well as a ghost tour to go along with it. But even if you're not a fan of paranormal activities, some of the spookiest locations are still worth your time. Number 9. Aratal Lunatic Asylum, Australia. Having been built in 1876 due to Victoria's growing population of so-called lunatics, the Armadale Asylum had been a place of torment, with over 13,000 patients believed to have tragically died there. Given that such horrific acts were conducted here, it's little wonder that the spirits of those lost souls are condemned to haunt this eerie complex to this day. Harrowing calls for help can be heard coming from empty cells, and the terrifying apparitions of past patients are often seen throughout. People visiting the location have been forced to leave due to the overwhelming sensation of sadness and extreme nausea. If you're in southwestern Victoria, then a trip to the Armadale Lunatic Asylum should be on your bucket list. Tours start at $22 for adults, and are offered daily. Number 8. Lizzie Borden House, Fall River, Massachusetts. This allegedly haunted bed and breakfast is the site of a gruesome and highly publicized murder. Although she was eventually acquitted, Lizzie Borden was suspected of killing her father and stepmother with a hatchet in the unassuming home in 1892. Since then, guests have reported all kinds of strange sightings in the house. Ghost tours and overnight stays are available for intrepid travelers who want to experience the notorious residence for themselves. Number 7. Mary King's Close, Edinburgh, Scotland. Mary King's Close is an underground warren of streets and dwellings. It was once a thriving trade area where Edinburgh's tradesmen lived and worked. However, in 1645 the close was believed to have been abandoned after an outbreak of the plague. Those that were infected stayed behind in isolation. Since the 17th century, there have been reports of paranormal goings-on in the close, and it's now regarded as one of the most haunted places in Scotland. The Coldheart family who lived there in 1685 were the first ones to report something paranormal. Soon after they moved in after the plague outbreak, they began to see ghostly figures and were left terrified after seeing phantom disembodied limbs and experiencing very vivid nightmares. Today, staff and visitors have reported seeing the ghost of a worried woman, a woman in black, and a little girl named Annie. The spirit of Annie has been known to interact with people who leave her gifts in one of the rooms. Number 6. St. Augustine Lighthouse, Florida, USA. St. Augustine Lighthouse, built in 1974, is an active lighthouse and museum in St. Augustine, Florida. The lighthouse and surrounding buildings are reportedly haunted. The apparitions of two girls have been reported on several occasions by both visitors and staff. The girls are believed to be the daughters of Hezekiah Pittee, who was in charge of the construction of the lighthouse in the 1870s. His two daughters died during its construction in a tragic accident on the site. Both of them have been seen on the tower catwalk. Due to the overwhelming number of reports coming from the location, the TAPS crew investigated and found several pieces of evidence, including a video of what appears to be a woman looking over the railing on the lighthouse staircase. They also captured shadow figures and an EVP of a woman crying out for help. Due to their success in capturing paranormal evidence, TAPS coined it the Mona Lisa of paranormal sites. Number 5. Akershus Fortress, Oslo, Norway. Built around 1300, Akershus Fortress, aka Akershus Castle, is a medieval castle that served as a defensive stronghold for the city of Oslo. It has served as a prison during the late 18th to 19th centuries, with many prisoners dying during their imprisonment. Nazis also occupied the castle during World War II, carrying out many executions on the site. Akershus Castle is the most haunted place in Norway, with many ghosts to speak of. With its vast history, it's of little surprise. The most popular of all is the demon dog named Malkinesen, which guards the gates to the castle. Legend says that anyone approached by Malkinizan is sentenced to a horrible death sometime in the following 3 months. The ghost of a woman named Mantelgeisen is often seen within the castle, walking back towards her chamber. She appears wearing a long robe from the darkness and has no facial features. Number 4. Edinburgh Castle, Edinburgh, Scotland. The site on which Edinburgh Castle sits has a history dating back to the Iron Age. Situated overlooking what many people believe to be the most haunted city on earth, Edinburgh Castle has been the site of torture and many bloody battles during its time. All recipes for many a haunted location and a perfect concoction for one of Scotland's most haunted places. Visitors and staff of this new tourist destination have experienced many things over the years. The most common is the feeling of being touched and pulled, as well as the sighting of apparitions. Spirits that have been witnessed include an older man wearing an apron, a headless drummer boy, and a piper who mysteriously lost his life after getting lost in the tunnels below the castle. Other experiences include shadowy figures, strange lights, sudden drops in temperature, unexplained mists, strange sounds, the feeling of being watched, and sudden intense feelings of dread, sadness, and despair. Number 3. La Isla de las Muñecas, the Island of the Dolls. Located on Lake Texulo in Xochimilco, NR, Mexico City, the island La Isla de las Muñecas, the Island of the Dolls, is undoubtedly one of the strangest haunted locations on our list. In the 1950s, Julian Santon Barrera moved to the island, despite being married to a young family. Julian was unaware of the area's dark history when he moved there to become a hermit. Legend says 3 young girls were playing near the water in the 1920s when one of the girls fell in and drowned in the murky waters. Locals believed that the young girl's spirit had been unable to leave the island ever since her death. It soon grew quite a reputation as a haunted place, and locals wouldn't go near it at night for fear of what they may see. Julian claimed that a little girl began speaking to him as soon as he moved on the island. The girl told Julian how she had died and was trapped on the island. He began to get the dolls for this little girl, often selling off fruit and vegetables that he had grown on the island to buy old dolls for her to play with. Julian later told his nephew that it was becoming more difficult to appease the young girl's thirst for these dolls, with him seemingly worried that she wanted him to join her in her watery grave. The same day he had this discussion, his nephew returned to the island when he found his uncle face down in the canal. His body was in the same spot where the little girl had drowned 70 years before. Today, tourists to the island often speak of the doll's eyes following them. Others have also reported that the mutilated dolls whisper to them, especially at night. Julian's ghost is also said to remain on the island, as well as the young girls. 2 Babenhausen Barracks, Hesse, Germany. Now a museum, the ghost of World War II German soldiers have been seen in uniform. Lights are known to turn on and off by themselves, and voices are heard in the basement. German commands are often heard being shouted out in the middle of the night, and disembodied footsteps are a common experience. Soldiers who have visited the museum and picked up a telephone have reported hearing a woman talking backwards, and it's not clear whether it's in English or German. In the town of Babenhausen, Awith was allegedly burned at the stake sometime in the 19th century. Her ghost is said to have seduced and killed several German soldiers. And now for the number 1 spot. It's none other than Borgvattnet Prästgård, Sweden. Borgvattnet is a small village in Jämtland County, northern Sweden. It's renowned for having one of the most haunted houses in Sweden, the Old Vicarage, built in 1876. The first ghost ever documented at the vicarage came in 1927, when the chaplain Nils Hedlund resided. He reported many strange happenings, including one particular encounter with something paranormal. He was on his way up to the attic to gather his laundry when he witnessed his laundry being torn down from the line by an unseen force. Rudolf Tangden, a priest who lived at the vicarage during the 1930s, saw an older woman dressed in gray appear in a room. He followed her as she walked away, but she vanished in front of his eyes. In the 1940s, Tangden's successor, Otto Lindgren, and his wife said they had several paranormal experiences, including unexplained sounds and moving objects. On one occasion, a woman staying in the guest room was awoken in the middle of the night to see three older women sitting staring at her. She quickly turned on the light, and they were still there. However, they now appeared blurry. In 1945, the chaplain, Eric Lindgren, moved into the vicarage, and he began a journal recounting many of his own experiences in the house. He reported being thrown out of his chair regularly by an unseen force. The current building is serving as a restaurant/cafe, as well as a guest house. If you dare to stay the entire night, you'll receive an overnight stay certificate to prove it. So that's it, guys. These are the most scariest places on Earth. Comment down below to share your thoughts. See you guys soon. Bye.